Sons of the Sun.
gosh, we're live! There's me just about to start daydreaming into space. Welcome to Women's Work podcast on Expanded Understanding. My name is Angela Miller, and thank you so much for joining me, us, all of us this evening for this wonderful adventure into the unknown. And it's actually not unknown because it's the life that we live. And the purpose of this podcast is to bring women together in sacred alignment. So I would like to open up the show with a prayer that we can all share moving forward in this new time. A prayer for all women, seen and unseen, heard and unheard, past, present and future, with all of our ancestors present. In this present moment of sacred broadcast now, I would like to invite the sacred ancestral grandmothers of all universes and all eras of light to come sit with us in Women's Council for this moment and for all moments moving forward on this trajectory through the soul's journey and experience. I would like to invite your ancestors into sacred spiritual court of equity so that all women may find remedy and resolve within 1 degree of separation and eventually all degrees of separation via the ripple effect. Ooh. I bring forth and request the divine pleasure of our sacred Earth Mother, present with us in all moments, in all her daughters' moments. We bring forth ourselves, our souls, our lives in this sacred experience of beingness, in this moment during this pre-awakening, awakening for some. In these sacred moments of prayer, together, unified as women, we turn inwards to the inner doorway of our perceptions. Welcome to the inner doorway of your perception, your inner perception that guides you and has guided you from the moment of your birth and before and beyond, from your eternal existence into this lifetime now. I would like to bring forth, for you to bring forth, all contracts that have restricted you, subjugated your path, kept you off your natural, earth-centric sine wave of existence as a natural, co-creating, divine female being on this planet today. Whether you scrub floors, or you write policy, or you have some really high-powered job, this is about all of us. This is about the mothers, the sisters, the daughters, the partners, the fraud contracts that we all hold, that have kept us in a limited position too far. As you journey through your perception into you, I ask that you sacredly connect to your own wombs. As you let go of the suffering you have absorbed in this lifetime and all other lifetimes. the fear, the hatred, the anger that was not even yours to begin with. Letting go of the male alchemical frequencies that you've held stored in memories in your body. Letting it go. Connecting your womb to the core of Earth via your heart in the pure frequency of Source, Prime Creator. Let go of the impacts from abuse. Let go of the impacts from medical traumas. Let go of the promises that were made for you because you were born as a woman. Let go of expectations. Let go of your lineage's fear that you have held in your womb. Let go of your grandmother's fear, your great-grandmother's fear, your mother's fear. Let go of the suffering that disrupts your monthly cycles. As your heart connects deeper to your central nervous system, as you become neutral, sacred neutral feminine awareness enters your body now and is amplified with every sacred breath you take. Allow the pure joy of creation to connect to your wombs, to your hearts, to your souls, in complete coherence. Letting go of the worries and the fears of the constructs of society, the ones they imprinted upon you. As you gaze inside on your journey, through your inner perception, into you, you see the sun, the moon, and the stars light up in pure gold, harmonic resonance. Allowing all your past lives as a woman to come into view. Letting go of the shame, blame, and guilt. Letting go of the words unexpressed and the tears unshed. Let go of the part of you and dissolve it, the part of you that sabotages your own divine journey as a divine feminine being. Turn your gaze inwards. Go deeper. Deeper into your dreams. Through all your lineages, your cultures, whatever culture you are, whatever partner you've had, whatever parents you had, whatever has been done to you before by others. As you emanate your highest divine I am now frequency as the apex of your divinity. Allow more peace into your heart. Allow more peace as a woman. Allow your maternal stresses to dissolve. Feeling yourself cleanse. From the dawn of non-conceptual time. As you sit in the core of your own divine illumination, allowing it to be present with you in this sacred clearing moment of multidimensional you, past versions that you can let go of now. It's okay. It's okay to be a woman. Despite a world that treats you differently because of what you are naturally, allow these words and vibrations to touch your DNA, to touch your heart, to touch your spirit path. Allow yourself to come into complete unity with feminine and masculine parts of yourself. Allow your femininity to illuminate into your aura, out through your cells, out through your nucleus, emanating your soul as you calibrate to the balanced gender within you. You don't have to be anything other than what you are. You, individual you. Allowing the intense sadness to be released from your frequency. And this is by no means to be negative towards men. This is to encourage and cultivate those unperceived parts of you, deep within you, that hold qualities that resonate through your DNA physical body. And in this particular case, for this woman's work, this is about you, your journey as a woman, your life, what you've learned, and how you put that into practice for your own soul's growth, which is your family's growth, which is your community's growth, which is your nation's growth, which is your planetary growth, which is your soul group's growth, which is your monadic growth, which is source growth. Even through the ever-changing moments in time, dictated by systems that would take your children demean you as being less than, cause you to compete, the same system that will cause you to compete with another sister unnecessarily. Divisions created between men and women unnecessarily through the lack of understanding and awareness of what has been done to us, what has been done to both genders to create this division. So as women moving forward in this period of time, we heal our communities, we heal our families, we input into a system, and we care. You are a sacred being of pure source light. No one, no man should ever speak to you in a way that is negative. And you should never speak in a negative way that is aggressive, hurtful, directly, if you can help it. We let go of all those emotions that cause us to be in conflict as women. In this moment is your opportunity. The no time field is set, the space is clear, and the path is not broken. Allow it to expand your understanding of you. Allow your heart to expand as you use your inner perception to clear through any residual contracts that have limited your journey as a woman. As you say, no, I connect to my own sovereign path. I connect to my own way of being. I release those core programs of sabotage where I have messed up my own journey. Allow them to dissipate and dissolve. Allow yourself to expand naturally. It happens in an instant, on all levels of your sacred being, on all different worlds present in this moment. So breathe in this inner light frequency into you. Breathe beyond the resistance, the physical pain, the stress. Feeling yourself just be. Feeling yourself coming back presently. connected, refreshed, grounded, present, and with force in your heart. So I'm just going to invite those that are in the chat room just to make a comment. Please do comment and tell me how that's made you feel. There are other areas that we are going to go into coming up over the next hour and a half, and it'd be really great to have some input from you, because the key things that I'm trying to open awareness of are the contracts that have changed and kept you off your path as a woman. So you should have been doing amazing things. Maybe that has not happened for whatever reason, usually some sort of family drama, lineage, partner, life situation, complete devastation, rape, abuse, violence of some sort. But we are beyond this. So I'm just going to pop here into the chat and say hello. Here, I can actually do that. Let me see. And hello to all those people there. Hello, Maya Rose. Hello, Carla. Hello, Rocio, who's going to be joining us shortly. Willow Anonymous. Hello, I recognise that name. I want to get you on. Blessings, it's so lovely to see you. Willow says, after the events and healing this week, I immediately felt the energy move out of my womb. Bless you, Carla, bless you. We, I guess, we many of us have walked that journey of intense womb pain and energies that build up in the womb often cause us a lot of it can make us stick and stay fixed and rigid within ourselves, unable to move. So it's really great that you have got that energy moving. So I'm very pleased to hear about that. Willow, that felt great. A superb note to start on. Thank you. The idea was just to set the tone, of what women's work is about. So women's work is about the work that we do as women every day that is completely disregarded by society's constructs and contracts and restrictions and agreements that the soul has adhered into over a period of time. So the more we liberate ourselves from these contracts and integrate the body with the soul's integration of these contracts, we begin to see masses of upshifts within our own journeys. But also we can apply these principles to that of our children too. So it is fabulous. Maya Rose, so many layers to let go. And this is it. And this is quite a common thing. There are so many layers. If you've had a harsh experience, hi Morvin, hello love, nice to see you, thank you for coming. If you've had a lot of harsh male experiences where or just really, unconscious ones, and I say that because as women we receive male energy into our vessels, and this undergoes an alchemical process within us that records all sorts of data, imprints, DNA patterning, and so on. And yeah, trusting in quantum, that's exactly what we're doing here. There's a very big healing space going on, and invited. Oh, hello, Sissel. Hello. I'm so happy. There's so many beautiful sisters here. Oh my gosh, I'm so pleased about that. I'm so honored that you came, because that is just amazing. This is what we're all about. And we've got people here from all over the world joining us in this moment as in Sisterhood Council. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to see if Zach is available, because there's somebody that I'd like to invite on. If you would like to come on, please do come and chat, and that would be amazing to discuss any issue that has affected you on your woman's journey from the beginning to end. If you would like to do so, please say so in the chat, and we will get hello, Mendy, a link to you, and you can come and join me, and we can talk about whatever that issue might be in this moment. It'd be really great to have you on. The doorway to the perception of women's work on Expanded Understanding is open, and it's that chat doorway to come and sit down and have a conversation and have a look maybe at any issue that's plagued you as a woman, and look for a solution, something that will benefit other women on the planet, whatever the religion, culture, whatever the system that they might live in. It would be really wonderful to have you on. So please do pipe up. I do want to get Rocio on, actually, because she has got a fascinating perspective. I'm just going to send this to Zach, if you can just bear with me. And while that takes place, so do come to our Facebook page, Women's Work. Yes, we are in the very beginning of a not-for-profit organisation that aims to provide training, emotional clearing, recovery from abuse, women's support projects, amongst other things, among educational support, designed to get a woman away from codependency on man and state. Because everything that we have come into, been born into, from the relationships that we have with our fathers, to the first early relationships that we have with other partners, brothers, all sorts, it all shapes the way that we are, and what sort of male input around us shapes the type of partner that we have. And this is quite fascinating. So if we had completely pure experiences where it was all love, light and laughter and all a bit like that, how on earth, right, wouldn't we make it as women? I don't know. It seems like there's a, you know, not everybody would have had a crappy father, mind you. I'm not saying that. I'm just looking at things that impress upon us in our early years. And we haven't even got into the whole wide subject of birth trauma yet. So that is something that maybe I can send that link, actually. That's something that we will cover. And what I'd like to do is get on some birth experts, because we need to sit and have a look and examine. Right? Rocio, I'm just going to send you a link I've got here and hope it works. And if you can just click and go through the instructions, it will bring you on live. Oh, sorry, it wouldn't. Yeah, so in this series, we're going to be covering everything from birth to death. And that does include the type of educations that we have, what forced expectations are put upon us as women from an early age, what were we offered in the education system to help cultivate us to be in the beings we are. Then it comes on to the subject of relationships and relations, and how those have impacted us over a period of time, over our lives, when we should be living nothing short of divine joy, as is our divine right. So yeah, if there's anything you'd like to ask, that would be wonderful. Nope, there's nothing coming up there. So what I'm going to do in this moment Oh, hold on. Okay. Use that one. So just before Rocio comes on, I would urge you and invite you to take a long, slow, deep breath in. And engage with neutral, peaceful you in this sacred, peaceful environment. If you've just come along to the show, we have been looking and doing a meditation, doing a meditation and in an investigation, in fact, into what we're holding as women and releasing that. So just for a moment, if you feel that you have other layers, deeper layers to release, just give yourself complete permission to go down deeper and let go. This sacred universal healing space is being held for you to do that. And if there's kind of like, if it's firmly woven into the womb lining, if it's imprinted, we're just going to soften that a little for you. I can see that there are some really amazing results out there. I can see women's wombs kickstarting and rebooting. And just connect with the flow of you. Allow it to expand into the ovaries, into the eggs, follicles, abdomen, cervix. And this is where you utilize your female inner powers and abilities. To heal your own womb. It's your divine and ancient right. Allowing all of your sacred frequencies to return and move out all unsacred frequencies. Any deeper layers of shame, guilt, regret. And breathe. So I'm going to invite those soft breathers. If you would like to come on the show, please do so. Galactic Activation Portal is online. Oh. So I'm just having a quick look through the chat here. Hello, Joanna. Hello. Hello, Karleen, Sacred Technician. Yeah, thank you, wonderful people. There happens to be 12 of us. Yes, please, Rocio, just come in. Oh, where are you? Let's see if you're there. Yeah, if you just follow the link I sent you and come on, click it. It'll ask you to go on as you, and then you'll be in the waiting room. Yeah. Here on Sun's phone. Oh, Morvin, I love you. I can't wait to get Morvin Bryce on this show, actually. That is going to be pretty amazing. And we're going to, I'm feeling that we're going to somehow combine a journey, Morvin. A combination of your playing and your beautiful voice. I think that we can do something. That would be amazing. So yeah, if you'd like to come on Morvin, you're very welcome to. Okay, Rocio's having problems. Karleen, if you'd like to come on, also do so. Joanna, Maya, Sissel, if you'd like to come on, please do. I can send you a link, and we can get you on here. Rocio, let's see, she's having problems getting in. Oh. Okay, so in the chat, what would you say is the biggest struggle that you've had to personally experience? Oh, you're up for coming on. Yay, great. If you could just say, as a woman, what your personal, you don't have to go into detail, you don't have to outlay everything, but just the most difficult experience you've ever had to face as a woman in your skin suit, as a female. It'd be really great to know that. For me personally, I really kind of found it tough being a parent in the early days, when they could move around and go off by themselves. That was pretty tough. But actually, it was more of how I dealt with my own psychic abilities and psychic awareness, because I'm hyper intuitive, I'm hyper psychic, and I can feel everything and also hear people's thoughts. So when you can do things like that, you begin to create a picture of, actually, I don't really want to be in the world. So you may not know this, but I have experienced such a dark time in my 20s, where I spent time with depression and anxiety disorders and all sorts of things. And I didn't go medicated either. It was just a process of this huge release, because it was all part of the journey, funnily enough. But dark nights of the soul, they're pretty bad, obviously, but they're pretty good too, because there is a divine light at the end of it. Dominated by men all my life, so I could build up the strength to acknowledge myself as a woman. That's just beautiful. Yeah, I think that it has been innate or programmed into men to try and control the feminine. And it first happens with the penis. And that expectation that from the science class, no less, that you will be penetrated, and then that's it, game over. But it is the truth, and it is this domination that we see in our lives. It's like, how do we don't go down the angry road where you're just fighting with every man that walks by. It's about finding inner peace with who you are, but also the awareness. I think what Sissel's meaning is like building up strength. It does take an inner strength to acknowledge yourself as a woman in all your complete glory, whatever that might be. And that's scars and all, and the emotional scars, but also the physical ones that we have all taken on or born or existed with since the time of the trauma, usually by being dominated by men. So how do we address that? The imbalance comes from within. This imbalance of maybe we're imbalanced on a male part of ourselves that teaches us to be quite male. Is it out of balance with the female part of us, which is it's like this tilting of ratios. So you have this tilting of ratios going on, and when we're out of balance with those parts of ourselves, by not acknowledging those parts of ourselves, then that's when things get skewed within us and our experience, and we can only communicate from that. So not only acknowledge the feminine, but the masculine in ourselves, absolutely. And that neutrality within ourselves gives us a great deal of peace. We don't have to run around in either gender. We can just be. I am a woman that is an engineer also, as well as a healer. And I also do other things that are could be considered to be masculine. But I also would do that in a dress, probably. So I really get that you have to acknowledge the male part of ourselves, because it's kept us alive, I guess. And the female part of us is, the one. You think that if everybody knew that we were male and female, we wouldn't have half the issues that we've got going on today. Really, we wouldn't. But it comes down to domination and control. Dominating the men, which will dominate the woman, which will dominate the species. And it was always designed that way. We have Chrissa having come to this world and my mother crying because I was a girl. I can relate to that. I really can. Because, girls aren't valuable at the end of the day. It's much more productive to have a son, even if he is an asshole. And I've witnessed that time and time again. It is literally like that. It's this relationship development and being made to feel inadequate from birth. So, Chrissa, I really get that. And I hope that you found forgiveness for your mother in that scenario, because it's probably indoctrinated by your surname. It's probably in your culture quite deeply, male patriarchy. Yes, for sure. 444. So yeah, I can really, really get that. And then, I can think of a situation in my life where it was expected to serve the family and serve the male. And I've never really been into that. Anyone that's known me from quite young would have known that was not the right woman to be asking to do that, because she's never going to do that. And in this moment, I feel a friend, a sister, Lana Haynes, because she would never do that. Oh, so with that, with our parents, at this, I'm referring to the journey in a woman's life, when you do get to a point and you can actually look and say with confidence in yourself, it's like your parents may have really messed it up for you, but how you move forward in that is really key. You don't have to carry on any generational tradition. You don't have to carry on any generational trauma. It does help to look at that from an internal perspective, because it's a big one. It really, really is. And those imprints have a huge effect on the way that we grow and develop. But also, when you're born in a hospital, you are born into the system and you're issued with a birth certificate. You're literally stamped into the system. And what I want to do actually at that moment is I just want to pass this link to Karleen from Sacred Technicians, who maybe I think it'd be great if you came on and talked about that a little more, actually. Let me just... Oh, hello, are you there? Wow.
Yeah, I was
oh my God. Hello. I'm going to get I'm inside, but you don't see me. I was too talking. Hello, Rocio. How are you?
Fine. Beautiful to be here, enjoying you in this beautiful new program that we hope that will be a very interesting things every time, just like you do it.
Great, thank you.
Yeah,
this podcast, as you know, we're going to be engaging in a project in Malinalco. It's a women's centre for healing, regeneration and recalibration away from patriarchy. Well, it's actually an abuse recovery healing centre. But we also will be looking at all those issues that affect a woman's journey from birth to death. But the purpose of this podcast is to really announce the launch of these projects and this concept, so we can take it forward from a fixed point in time and just get on with the job, because this is the women's work. So we need to come into our communities and start rolling out these programs. Now, I'm just going to send Karleen a link here, because I know that we are looking at a similar concept here in Britain. Let me see if I can find you. There we go. I'll send that to you. If you're in a different part of the world too, please do come on. We want to share, we want to connect, and we want to engage with you wherever you are. I think we can have a few on at a time. I hope you got that, Karleen. Are we here? So in the meantime, Rocio, can you give an example of the worst thing? The thing you've had to come through, the issue that you've had to come through the most as a woman on the planet today in your life?
I think that a lot of women happen more or less the same thing. Is when I got married very young, 20 years. I was 20 years old, and I was married with all the beautiful illusions that we have, like a child, like a people that is not too much experimented, yeah. And after that, suddenly I wake up, and guess what? It's not like I imagined, right? And not only that, welcome to the reality, right? Yeah. And then after that, my ex-husband has another kind of life in some way. I was very innocent, very naive, believe me. So he has another things to do, and he just one day, when my child was 3 years old, just one day says, "I'm going." So I didn't believe him. And next day, when I coming back from, because I was looking for a job in that time, I'm coming with a very nice news, and with the idea that together we are gonna growing up very nice, our family, yeah. And I'm coming back to home, open the door, and he wasn't there. So by intuition, I just go into the closet, open the doors, and guess what? No luggage, no clothes, and I used to have a little money in an account bank. Not even that.
Oh, went to the bank account. Oh, energy. Oh,
even that. So in that way, when I open it's very interesting thing. When I open that closet and I don't see nothing, about him, it's like, uh-oh, now what I'm gonna do? I'm alone with my child, right?
Mhm.
That was the most in that moment. Of course, after that everything was better, but in that moment I was very 24 years old,
Mhm.
and well, I was thinking in that moment, I'm alone, what I'm gonna do, right? So in that moment I felt that all the world coming down to me, and like, oh my god. But after that I remember that I just sit down, yeah, on the steps that we used to have in the little apartment where we live, and just sit down and say to myself, calm, calm. We need to think about what we are gonna do, right?
Mhm.
So for me, it was very strong that moment. Feel that I was alone with my kid. I didn't know what to do in that moment. But
Mhm.
then I just remember, like I think that everybody doing, I run with my mother and I
Mhm.
say, oh, guess what? I'm alone. And she says, you are not alone. I'm here and I help you. You
Mm.
know. And say, oh,
Mm.
help me a lot. So I tried to live with my kid for some time. Of course, I got the job. That was a blessing. Um, and I began a new life. But what for me was very, very difficult because I didn't know nothing about, well, mm, to have the responsibility to bring up a child, you know?
Mhm. Mhm.
So I think that there are a lot alone moms that they, in the beginning, feel the same thing that me, yeah?
Mhm. Mhm.
And, but I think it's in that moment is when we reconnect for the first time with that very deep inside of us. That is a warrior that
Mhm.
we say, I'm gonna make it. Yeah, I'm gonna do these things for my child, for myself, and we continue the life, right? So exist now that I'm doing this healing service to the humanity, yeah, with through the temazcales, through the interpretation of quinayas, to all this interpretation about spiritual things, connection with the universe, yeah, with the great spirit, and with my traditions. Uh, well, I began to connect again with myself, yeah, very inside myself, to especially to give the best that I have, like a mother in that time, like
Mhm.
a, a part of the society too. So there are a lot of things, but there was my first shock in the life, like woman in that way, right? So I think there is a lot problem right now. In that time, long time ago, um, we still have this idea about the family and that stuff. But now I think that even women, they are losing this conception about the family, you know, because
Mhm.
they are losing a lot of different things, but because the experiences that they have already,
Mhm.
you know, and we need to reconnect that female thing about mother, about wife, about companion, or whatever that we have
Mhm.
in the best way with the new things that we have already. Yeah, because everything is changing. 38 years ago was different, but everything is changing, you know, everything is in evolve. But
Yes.
um, what I see in the sad way is that a lot of women lost in to try to be as equal as men
Yes.
in
Trying
all
to
the
be a
different
man.
things. Yeah,
Mhm.
there is a competition, and there is no point. There's no the way, right? And more than,
Exactly.
yeah, and more than that competition, they they lost the female, the sensitive, that things, and they try to be like man
Mm-hmm.
in literal way.
Mm-hmm.
So we are lost in that way.
Yeah. Well, you know, it's all very well and good having big balls.
Yeah.
But in this case, it's the creative.
Yeah, well.
I'm so sorry, listeners. But you know, in this day and age, we do actually use words like that. Hello, Karleen. Welcome to Women's Work.
Hello.
Welcome.
Nice to see you.
How are you?
I'm good. Yeah, good.
Thanks for coming on. There was a moment there, an opening, a divine opening.
There was.
Could you just sort of just explain to the listeners how the birth certificate affects our contracts at the beginning of birth?
Okay, so first of all, if you're born in a ward, you become a ward of state.
Is that a hospital ward?
Yeah. That they're deliberately set up to traumatize you really from birth. The hospital birthing process of coming in with metal instruments and plastic gloves and no human contact.
Smacking bum and hung upside down.
There's so much,
right?
Clamping the cord early, not allowing the blood to flow into the baby. There's so much kind of what I would call birthing magic, black magic rituals that happen at birth.
Could you tell us more about that, please?
More about the black magic rituals at birth? Well, first of all, coming in as a ward of state, you're not coming in as a free sovereign being of choice. You are under a contract kind of from the beginning. When you come through the birthing canal, you should come into phase conjugation, which means that everything kind of opens up at the right moment, and the wave that allows you to come in, you're riding that wave.
The synergy.
The baby is sorry?
The synergy.
The baby is riding that wave, yeah. Mm-hmm. But because women have come out of being in contact with their bodies, they're told to push. And they're told to push in the wrong way, so that when the baby comes out, that the birthing through the canal actually erases the memory. That's part of the reincarnation grid that's overlaying the planet, that's been going on for eons of time. And as you know, part of my role in all of this is to set humanity free, and so that the new little ones that are coming in are birthed in sovereignty. They're birthed free, and that they have as much of their memory intact as possible. Mm-hmm. So that's kind of my feel of things and where I'm coming from. Mm-hmm. When the birth certificate obviously is the first major entity attachment that you get when you come into the planet. So along with, I'm sure that a lot of people know about the straw man and the capital letter name, that your birth certificate basically puts you into a dead person. You're not alive at that point. You're not considered as a live being. Sorry?
Could you explain that?
Okay.
So, just for those that may not have heard about anything to do with that.
Sure. Okay, so when you're informed on, if you look at your birth certificate, you are informed as birthing, and it's all due to maritime law, which is the law that Earth is under at the moment through the governmental systems in place. So when you come into birthing, in the same way that a ship docks, you come into a canal. It's all linguistics. So you come through the birthing canal and you come into dock you are then placed under a birthing certificate. This is your docking pass in order to be able to be birthed here. And what happens with your birth certificate is that you are then assumed dead at that point, and that goes back to the Sescavie Trust of 1666. You're linked into that, which happened during the fire of London. Everybody was assumed dead at that point and not alive. So the birth certificate is a way of putting you under their authority, because firstly, you're born in a ward, you're made a ward of state. Your parents sign you away, basically. They inform that you have been born and you are registered. Anything that is registered does not belong to the person. They are a keeper of it. So you are then a keeper of your children. You are not their parent. You sign the authority of parenting away to the government, or rather the Vatican, because birth certificates come under Vatican rule. So once you have
spiritual contract,
it is a spiritual contract.
Right. This is where it gets interesting. I'm very fascinated about these spiritual contracts.
Yeah, well, the Vatican own kind of all of the spiritual contracts. You'll know the difference between a 3D contract and a spiritual contract, because a spiritual contract is written in red. Hence the blood contracts. It comes through the bloodline. And anything in red on an official contract, like a letter, things like that come through the post, that is actually not seen. It's something that is in a different plane of existence in red. So it's actually not in 3-dimensional planes of existence. Hence the reason for calling it a spiritual contract. And when you get your birth certificate, alongside your birth certificate is created an entity, a company, which attaches to you throughout the whole of your life.
Yeah.
Unless you release it, obviously.
Yeah. And what sorts of things have you witnessed in the past about these birthing contracts?
Birthing contracts there's so many different things. I mean, I've had a lot of people. Time has been a real issue recently. I've noticed that people who have planned their birth and then come in like 2 weeks early, their whole life is off kilter. Yes. Because they haven't come in at the time that they had agreed to. They've been forced into incarnation weeks before by induction, being induced. Mum goes into trauma, baby goes into trauma. That's the first step.
Elective C-sections.
Yeah, exactly. You know, all of those things have such massive impact, and we don't realize, you know, unless we do the work, how much of an impact all of those things have. And we're carrying them through our life, you know, until we clear them, obviously.
So I would just, in this moment, like to just take a little fast forward to the next contractual stage of life while we're here. And it's a subject that I find completely fascinating. It's the marriage contract.
Oh, yeah. Marriage contracts, obviously, you know, the thing you have to look at with marriage contracts is it's not just the marriage now. If you go back to the hand fasting,
which is the ritual,
binding. It's a binding of souls. It's not just a marriage contract, as in I'm going to live with you for my life this lifetime. You actually bind those two souls together, so they keep looping around, going, "But I love you forever," until you release them.
Get rid of those.
So if you find that your wrists are suddenly starting to hurt while you're watching this, or often, etherically, we still have the tags, we still have the ribbons attached to our wrists.
It's true. It's so true. On mine, I read the information, pain and suffering. I was condemned to a life of suffering. For my daughter, they wanted her soul. So you can imagine when you have got that data presented in front of you and you're reading that, and that's because it's from a construct. I'm mentioning that one for somebody else. Construct talk is about to materialize.
I mean, the other thing as well is that you come under seals, and your family crest is another thing that will have impact on your soul contracts.
Yeah.
Where you're holding things in your particular bloodline, whether it's family curses, intergenerational karma. There's so much, that's held in your blood as sacred geometry that you're not even aware of. That, well, even down to stupid things like going to the supermarket and buying too much. It's having addiction problems. They can all link back into what family bloodline you're in.
And it's quite fascinating to see that in certain races and cultures who've adopted their slave person's name.
Yeah.
So they've adopted and working out that karma still to this day. And that is rife in certain areas.
We're all under slavery. I mean, the thing is that people think that slavery was abolished. It wasn't. It just expanded across the planet. It's like we're all bound by the ley lines and stuff like that have been overlaid onto the planet that we're walking through, and not even realizing that we're moving through these different spaces and how that affects our sacred geometry in our blood.
Yes, it's true. And then combine that with some sort of trigger.
Exactly.
Then, something's going to happen. So, Rocio, in Mexico, what is the divorce rate like? Are you aware of it? What the divorce statistics are? In Britain, I think it's half and half. There's half of maybe it's 60% divorces we have.
In Mexico?
England, in the UK.
Oh, okay. I don't have. Yeah, in Mexico, I don't have too much idea how many divorces, but it's still like in the way that anthropologists, I can tell you that because the society in Mexico, how they still thinking about it, and the religion, that is other thing that is affected a lot in the families. They exist sometimes, or mostly of the women, they don't want to divorce because what is the family think about it? What is the religion is gonna say about it that she's divorced? Yeah. So in Mexico, still affect a lot these kind of groups of the society, of religion in the family, and the woman decide to be suffering. Yeah. Because they don't accept sometimes, especially in little towns, because the religion, because the society, because the family, they don't want to accept a divorce. What is going to happen after that, right? This is one. The second thing that affects the divorce in Mexico is that there are a lot of women, especially in the little towns, that the kids, like when they were kids, the mothers and grandmothers and the society and the religion again tell them that the only mission for a woman is to get married and have kids, thousands of kids. Right. Yeah. So what happened? Yeah. So what happened? These kids,
Really good.
it's terrible because these kids are 15 years, 14 years, and they already be pregnant and go together with the boyfriend. Yeah. For example, here in this town called Malinalco, happen like that. There are little places where the kids only just study if it's good secondary school, the first level of the school, and they got married. So what happened when they have problems like couple and the guy just look for another person because they don't have the mature still. Yeah.
Mhm.
These kids don't know what to do because they didn't study. They are not preparing themselves. Yeah.
Yeah.
To have a kid, how they are gonna feed these kids. So they
Right.
finish doing tortillas and selling in the corner, you know? So there is a big problem in Mexico, still in the little towns. In the city, it's different, because the people, usually the people from the city have more opportunities in economical situation and in the sociable way to go out to the university and make a career at least. And then you know that, okay, didn't work with this man, okay, I can divorce, but I can feed my kid because I prepare in front of the life, you know? So until we study each one of the cases that appear in, and they don't know what to do, we decide in some way, like society, yeah, if what is the next step for our kids,
Yeah.
but it's
How
still
do we want
our
our
problems
daughters to
about.
grow up?
Yeah. So they don't have still this freedom to say, okay, I'm divorced. I do my life with my kids or my kids because
Yeah.
they don't have only one. They have 4 or 5. Still, at least I think I can say maybe from Mexico to all South America. It's the same thing. So I don't know. It's still a lot problem in society way. This thing, that there are, even though they don't have divorce, they just left the wife and they go with another woman. And there is another factor too. The men, because there are not enough work or they don't pay, they receive a payment, they well pay for the job, they go into United States. But they left a wife, a kids here, and then going to United States. And because they can coming back immediately because they don't have visa or something, they are went back. Yeah. Guess what? They make another family there. So they have 2 families, one in Mexico and one there. Oh, well, because the men can be alone for a long time.
No. No.
Yeah. So see, this is the social problem that we have with all our women and our women. So it's not only since they were born, when they were born, all that contracts that they have is all the things that they're accumulating by their life too, right? Uh, the economical situation, the social situation, the religious situation, all that stuff.
Mhm.
Yeah. So really,
But with them,
yeah,
but with the religion, you've got breeding contract as well. Like with the religion, you've got that whole, the woman's place is in the home and you're only good for breeding.
Barefoot and chained to the kitchen sink. Pregnant.
Exactly. Yeah.
oh yes. And now, well, we have sometimes programs around the little towns to talk with the kids from 13 to 16 years old.
Mhm.
Yeah, and tell them, okay, um, not just get married and have kids is the mission of the woman. You can prepare yourself, study, work, traveling, develop yourself, and then when you feel ready, you can get married. And if you don't feel ready, don't do it, please, because we bring kids to suffer to the world, right? That's a big problem.
Yeah. Well, they're still running the same programs unless we kind of deal with the programs that are running already.
Yeah,
Then the children are coming in to run the programs again. So,
yeah.
it's looking at what the programs are.
Yeah, exactly. It's when I was talking exactly about when I'm talking about the King Maya, is I'm talking exactly about that thing. It's like how can we avoid or erase or reprogram these things that the society, the mothers, the religion put in us, reprogram ourselves if we bring another program very different from the universe, right? So
Yeah.
yeah. So but it's not easy. The it's very it's because how can I say, there are people that they are open mind to listen, but there are ones that say no, that's not good because the church says that evil is evil things.
Yeah.
So this is the program that we have here. This is the honest, and sometimes we feel like impotent, yeah, because we can do more because they don't let that we help them. Yeah. Sometimes there are programs here. I was in one of them, and I let once upon a time, some years before, I was in a program to talk about women, how they can don't stop to bring kids anytime. And we went in Casa de Cultura. It's a place where we were together with some women, and when I going out, they were all the husbands waiting for me.
Oh
What?
dear.
Oh
You caused a bit of a stir there then.
They thought that I was doing something wrong with the women, telling them something against with them to them, right? But I invite them the next time, yeah, to going inside, and they see that the only thing that we wanted with another group of people, of women, is to try to help them how to organize their family in the way they don't have kids each time, and they are. Yeah, and they're very poor. Yeah, they don't have enough food. They don't have enough clothes. Of course. So we were managing this thing about the 100% that we call in anthropology. Yeah, is if you have one kid, you give them the 100% of everything that you can give. Yeah.
Yeah.
But if you have two kids, you have to give them 50 and 50, right? But you have three, it's 30, 33 and 33, and you have five, it's only the 20% that you have offering this kid. And it's true. And there are people that will have 10 kids. Can you imagine?
No, I couldn't.
Almost kinds of
Well, I had five, so I know like
okay.
I
Yeah,
know
but
multiple children, is a handful, especially when you're a single mum, like I was the majority
exactly,
of the
yeah.
time.
Yeah, but we still third world, how
Yeah.
they follow us. So we're still in the process to try that even they prepare more themselves like women. Yeah, but they say, I don't have time. The poor woman work and work and work to feed these kids. But
Yeah.
and to this situation, you can put a husband that doesn't do nothing. Right?
Yeah.
So this is another story.
Yeah.
Podongo.
You describing my life.
We, Karleen, there is a word in Spanish that you describe a man that is not doing nothing, just scratching the belly and just doing nothing, and we say fodongo. So Angela love about it because yes, you can.
It's a
There is
funny
an
word.
incredible word to describe somebody that don't do it nothing. So yeah, we have a big thing here in Mexico, at least for a long time still. Hopefully, well, we try to the more people from the city coming to live in the little towns, and with our presence, without change how they are because they don't let you. We try to share with them more knowledge on more things that in the way that they can live in the better way, you know.
Yeah, definitely. I think that having that, strong female inspiration is really helpful, for people in that situation. It's like if you have someone to motivate you to be able to look at things in a different way,
Yeah, exactly.
that's sometimes all it takes to get people to, women in particular, obviously, to look at things, slightly differently, that they don't have to just be a mum. They can be a mum and work and do it all, because we are, no,
And,
I'm not going to even say the word because I can't.
yeah, and even that, yeah, and even that Mexican women, they are very strong. Believe me,
Yeah,
we are warriors. We are like, we support a lot of things, even the whatever we have to do for the kids and sometimes for the husband. Yeah, but
there's
yeah, we are
also
very
there's
strong.
also like on that, there's a swing as well. It's like it, because of the warrior aspect to the feminine, you kind of make weak men, because they haven't had to stand in their own power,
Yeah,
because the women are quite capable, are probably over capable,
yeah,
of doing it all. So it's kind of also redressing that balance between, the masculine and the feminine. Because I found that as well. It's like when you are a strong woman, that warrior often comes in and takes over, and you keep going and you pile on the armor, and then it's like learning to soften a little bit more into, your feminine aspects, and being able to ask for help. That's one thing that I
yeah,
found.
I'm
yeah.
sorry, I'm laughing primarily because my daughter said to me, Mum, you're not really a woman, you're a small man.
Tough lady.
Today you are a small man.
But I think that we all have days like that, when the warrior comes out and, you just plow through everything.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. And this is uh, this is what happened because the men that see that the woman is very strong and just go and carry on with all the stuff, the job, the
And
kids.
they just then go,
Yeah.
oh, yeah,
Exactly, exactly.
Create an
That's
expectation.
the point. That's the point, right? And from that thing, we is how we feel that the macho grown become a macho, you know?
Macho macho tendencies, all inflated and
yeah,
Yeah, and
yeah,
dependent of the woman, dependent of everything. And because the kid, the boy, watch that situation at home, for him is natural. So when he growing up, he does the same thing
yep,
because he saw that at home, which was natural for him. It's the same thing that when the the father hits the mother, yeah, and the
yep,
kids watch it. So
yeah.
when they
They think
growing
it's
up, they
okay.
feel that it's natural and they do it again. That's the
it
program.
is
Yeah,
noticeable
absolutely.
at school. Morvin is making a really valid point here. When will men become guardians and protectors, and women life giver, way showers?
Okay, so I feel that comes back to the sacredness. It's like when we begin to view our men as divine masculine,
Mm. Mm-hmm.
rather, and they can also view us as divine feminine, then the balance is redressed. It's like, because we, well, if I go back to the ancient, long ago, we as women would have worshipped the god in the men,
Yes.
and the men would have worshipped the goddess within the woman.
Mm-hmm.
And the way that it is now is that we have women worshipping the goddess to try to reclaim their femininity. And we have the patriarchal complete sidelining of the goddess to worship their god. So that's kind of how religion has eschewed, you know, what would have been the natural harmonic way of being with one another, that then creates that codependency in relationship, because we're each looking for what the strengths are in the other and replacing it with our own version of it. It's kind of, a bit twisted, really.
It's the inversion of something that was quite beautiful and natural, that from, even from pre-Lemuria. I'm going back there because it seems to be a bit of a trouble causer.
Yeah.
Really it all happens before physical form. And this engagement of self and what in terms of the masculine and feminine within us, with that separation, we were always going to feel abandoned by Creator anyway. So this deeper, what it actually is, it's the disconnection from our natural selves. So what humanity has done and evolved into is this skewed inversion of masculine, feminine, what it means this, where the construction points are that fit in this building block to fit into that patriarchal cuboid that we call the Borg of some description. And it just consumes beliefs, ideologies, and we just need to sort of, as women, because I can't take responsibility for any man's behavior. I absolutely can't. If you don't know how to be yourself, I'm really, I can help you with that and help you re-engage and recalibrate. Come and have a session. But, for repairing the whole male gender is something that is completely...
But then I think that we also have to start doing that with ourselves. Once we start doing it with ourselves, we're taking personal responsibility. Then we find, that the men are able to do that. They're not able to do that because they kind of do need us to lead them in that way.
Yeah, I would say more... hold space, heart guy.
Well, I
we get in trouble.
Well, I think that to balance all those things and qualities that each one have by separate, there are mixed each other. There are women that have male things and there are men that have female things, and everything is mixed now, right? But I think that to try to understand more these both elements or jobs that everybody has, like man or woman, I don't know if I explain myself, it just back to this thing, how can we understand each other first? Yeah. Because this is very interesting. And some days before, I sent to Angela a beautiful link about this guy that's talking about how works the brain of woman, how works the brain of man, right? In the moment that we understand how works that, he understands how works our mind, our brain, and we understand how works the man brain. I think that we begin to understand what's going on, the better deal with our partner or between woman and man, it's beautiful how this guy explained the situation, and he even doing in a very jokey way. We can send them the link for everybody, because it's fabulous. It's fabulous because they say that the women brain, is even in physical way is different than the man brain. Can you imagine that? So the brain and the woman's brain, everything, all the elements are connected. All the little connections are there, and everything becomes one. Yeah, everything is connected. The work is connected with the kids is connected with the husband is connected with the friend is connected with the mother and the father and the brothers, and everything is connected. So why? Because we need to think about like everything at the same time, sometimes. Yeah, we need different tasks at the same time. But what happened with men? They have like a called boxes, and they say there are the box for the family, for the wife, for the sons or the daughter, the box for the friends, the box for the work, the box for the parents, yeah, for the family, personal family. And they say this is a beautiful thing. I love it. There is a box that exists that there is nothing, yeah, and real is nothing. So when a woman asks to a man that is like this and says, "What are you thinking about?" Because we are thinking always, right? And they don't.
Yeah.
So we say, "What are you thinking about?" Because maybe we say, "Oh, maybe he's thinking about in another woman, right?" Or something like that. And they say, nothing. And we say, "Come on, you are not thinking nothing." And they say, "Yes." And guess what? Exists the box of nothing in their brain. It's why they can go and fish and stay hours and hours. And it's why sometimes when we ask them something to do, can you help me with the cloth, to bring that box? And they stay and say, huh? They because they were somewhere else,
Yeah.
and they are not, because they are not. It's not that they are slow. It's the process that they have in the brain is different.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
this guy says, when you ask help to a man, you have to tell them at least 3 times the same thing, because when you say once, he in the moment is thinking about it, what you say or what you try to say. In the second time, it's like, it's beginning to understand. And in the third time, it's like, oh, I have to move, right? So if this is my theory, if we back to that and we try to understand all that process in the brains, how they work in different ways, maybe we can make a beautiful work together, right?
Yeah.
That sounds like the perfect co-creation to me.
Yeah. Definitely me too.
So one of the questions Cecil had asked, which is a really great question, is how do you know when the contract is resolved and dissolved within you?
Depends on the contract, I guess. But
So what I would just quickly get people to do, and I'll get you to just I just want to initiate the process and then you continue if that's okay.
Yeah.
I would invite everybody here that was present at the beginning of the broadcast to just look inside themselves through that doorway of inner perception and just ask your innate knowing, how many contracts do I have to clear? And it's the first answer that you get a response to. So your body will feed back that information to you. If you're struggling with that, maybe we can shed some light on it. Or if you would like to come on, we can do something more specific. If you would like to, please do let me know in the chat, and I will get something to you. Go on, Karleen.
Oh, that's what I was going to say. Was the first thing you need to do is identify, and be actually quite specific. If you're working on a particular contract, what is the contract? Where is it? Is it in your physical body? Is it outside of your physical body? Where are you attached to it? What's it linked to? So once you have that, then you can go into what do you need to resolve it. Generally it's like some contracts you can just go, do you know what? I really don't need that. Whatever. That was something that was forced on me. I'm not having it, and you can burn it. out of your system, other things need some kind of resolution. So it's looking at what is it that needs resolving in you, because you're the one that's recreating it. So although this may be something that's been inserted within you or given to you or handed to you, you still carry it. Therefore, you are the one that's responsible for recreating it. So it's looking at what you can resolve in yourself in order to bring that contract into resolution. And for me, I can only kind of talk from my personal experiences of the thousands of contracts that I've revoked. Generally, you get an energy wave. For me, you get an energy wave. You feel different. There's a different energetic about you.
There's more peace that comes in. There's more peace that comes into you.
Yeah, absolutely, and more like
the because what fascinates me about this is the physical restriction of how that interfaces. The contract actually interfaces with the DNA, which interfaces with the skin suit technology, which manifests into physical function, which creates a physical blockage, which creates an emotional which creates this massive explosion.
You really need to get down small. I mean, it's like, because we live in a fractal universe, it's like getting into the mitochondrial DNA of what the geometry is. And most contracts that I've seen kind of coming through the work that I do, there's a particular geometry that's inserted into the DNA as you're growing. So as we come in with that particular blood lineage along your spinal column, as the fetus is growing inside there, as the nerves are extending out into the parasympathetic and sympathetic nervous systems, that's where you find all of those little junctures of geometry where the contracts have actually been inserted within your DNA. And then because your DNA vibrates with your heartbeat, every time your heart beats, that's the resonancy that you're emitting. So you draw towards you then those experiences that are trying to resolve those contracts, because you're the one emanating them.
So in essence, what you are is a power source for those negative contracts, for your soul. And then you're literally reliving that in moment by moment live scenarios. So when we re-examine them and have a look at what contract what we hold, what do we hold with our lineage, what do we hold with our ancestors, what do we hold with blah blah from a million years ago, what do we hold with contracts with people in this lifetime now, where the contract world in the last 150, 200 years has seen a dramatic increase. So the more contracts that there are, and there have been since the beginning of the Industrial Revolution, the more impacted that is going to be into our DNA skin suits. So what I'm going to suggest right now is, if there is anybody here that has a specific contract that they would like to have examined, maybe Karleen could view it from a geometric perspective. I tend to view things, I get shown things in document form. Maybe it's
I see that as well.
Back in this show her a document.
The whole scrolls and things as well.
Yeah. Oh, what's that? What do you mean that's a holographic one? Behind that universe for an eon. What do you mean? Right, let's have a look. If there's anything there, let's have a look. So
I have a question.
Yeah.
Karleen. How many generations? Yeah. How far away is, for example, my contracts that I have? How far away going in my ancestors?
Okay, it depends on your blood lineage and when they were put in. So it's like, I would say that they can go on infinitum. It depends when they actually first were inserted into your DNA as a contract. Yeah. So it's kind of backtracking into if you look at, if you draw the way that I kind of get back to that is if you actually draw a line from your heart space back behind you, how far back does that line go until it gets to the origin?
Okay. Interesting, yeah.
So
It
getting
is.
to the origin is the key on that one.
Let me tell you, it's very interesting because
you're storing that data, right? So your photonic light body has stored every single experience that you've ever had. Every single everything has been recorded, a bit like on a data digital file stored in the universal algorithm hologram, whatever it is. And so you have, everybody has this ability. It's not like we've arrived at knowing what our contracts are. This has taken years of work.
Years. Yeah,
for me,
absolutely.
15 years of my life focused in a particular way because I knew I had loads. Exactly. So when we begin to open up that inner inquiry in those meditative states, we can identify by asking the best biofeedback mechanism in the universe, which is the human skin suit technology, and ask those questions. And it's the first answers asked to be shown. And those contracts, they had been not. So Karleen's referring to a fixed point in time. What we've been finding is also that there are contracts that have been inserted into other time zones, other areas in the universe or galaxy, or in people's bodies.
Yeah,
right?
yeah. I
And
mean, I guess that for me,
the body. So you can never discover it, but what you are doing is basically sharing and living the embodiment of that double contract through someone else. So it's really tricky, and it's a very individual thing for each person. But everybody has the ability to go there, ask the question, and open up the inquiry. I really say that.
I mean, I'd also go, go back through your blood lineage is the first thing I think to look at. Then once you've done your blood lineage, to then ask the question, how many other dimensions does this and universes does this contract exist in that's affecting the me of the now? Because we are multidimensional beings.
Yeah. Interesting.
So the important thing, though, with all of those contracts that do appear to be on the outside, once we start to demolish and dissolve the glue that keeps it held in the first place,
exactly.
which is the shadow emotional body and the emotional impacts which have just seeped and become ingrained into our soul's experience, that's when it becomes a bit trickier to look, and you do need to get some help to look at it.
Yeah, I mean, the other thing as well is like you obviously are the anchor point as well. So it's like looking at yourself as the anchor point. It's like throughout all of the time streams, dimensions, universes, whatever, you are still the anchor point for that because you're the one that's carrying it now.
Yeah.
So it's also kind of finding where the anchor point is in you. What's that associated with? And one of the things I found a lot of is when you have a particular contract in a particular place, it's like they'll be in like the cells of the liver, or there'll be a specific place in your physical body that will keep replicating that contract. So it's like having a look at being able to scan your skin suit, being able to find out where those contracts are being held, what cells are replicating that.
We have somebody in the audience that would like to have a look at a specific contract.
Cool.
Morvin, would you like to come on with us? Just asking that question. Would you like to come on with us and maybe have a look at this and what we can do? If you would, just say yes, and I'll send you a link over via Facebook, and maybe we can help shift that on. Hopefully, yeah. So if you do, give me a nudge. I'm looking at the comments. It will be wonderful to have you there. That's helpful, Karleen. Would you like to come on, Morven?
Yeah, come on.
Come on. I'm going to send you the link.
Let's get it done. Let's get it done, love.
Okay, so I'm just going to send you this link via Facebook. Okay.
There is enough space.
There is.
There's enough room in here.
5 here. Okay, and if you follow those instructions, we'll pick you up on there. So, do you know, just before Morvin arrives, one of the things that I really feel is quite relevant for now is those first loving relationships that you have as a young woman and how they set you in a particular trajectory for your future relationships. It's quite a fascinating thing. This typing of character, of archetype, and learning. What are you going to be learning from that next person? But then you look at this young love where you don't even see those things. You're just in it at that moment.
That innocence, isn't it? You know, I think that's part of it as well, you know, reclaiming the innocence of that love, you know, and not piling on all of the, well, that relationship went this way, that relationship went that way, you know, and coming back to that neutral of anything's possible, you know.
Yeah.
Back to that. Yeah, it's just that reclaiming the innocence, I think.
Yeah, and I think that we shouldn't lose that innocence in a nice way, you know.
Yeah.
Still, yeah, because to know everything, because we know we believe that we know everything, and it's not true, right? So we're just talking from our own experience. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, and but it's beautiful still to be innocent because you still have this thing about surprise you, right? To surprise you the things that you have in your relationships, and that's beautiful because that motivate to the other person to give you these spontaneity things or this spontaneity love or details or things like that. Because if you know it already, what is going to happen is you don't give attention to them, yeah? And sometimes the men, especially the men that are very sensible, they say, no, I'm not going to give flowers, for example, because she doesn't like it. She doesn't make any emotion because I give him flowers, just in case. It's a detail only. Yeah. But it's that thing that we always need to be surprises about and with that kind of innocence. But even that, with that child that we have everybody inside, don't let that die, that child, because that child is the one that keep us in this life, and maintain this.
I mean, that's where our joy comes from, you know. It's like that, I don't know, awe, you know, at life itself, you know. That fascinates me, is that awe, you know, of like how amazing even the tiniest little things are.
Yeah, exactly.
Go look at a snail for an hour.
Yeah.
Get to how
see that childlike innocence, and then just turn that around on everything. You know? It's nice.
Yes.
So it's about coming back to you, who you always were.
Yeah.
Free of system. So the system is irrelevant because it really, really is. And coming back to your inner you, So you, as a creative feminine being of this incredibly high awareness, can live, raise your family, and live your dreams.
Yeah.
So that is the
Dreaming
purpose,
is
to engage with Women's Work International, and we will be rolling out
I think
programs.
that's the other thing as well, is not losing your dreams,
Oh,
and
absolutely. Yeah.
that is something that I think is lost in many.
Oh,
It's like, what did you dream of when you were a child? Go back to the innocent dreams, the dream that brought you here in the first place.
yeah, there is that. There is that. And, this is the thing. So when you house the dreaming body and the etheric body in the sacral area, the sacral is the place that's often damaged and traumatized. We don't have access to the fullest connections that is our natural entitlement to. And we can numb our experience and disconnect it. So when it becomes
Yeah.
disconnected, we're just going to keep that pattern of disconnection rolling on and on, literally, by overlaying it with more disconnection. So it's and it's such an important part of a woman's journey, is the removal of trauma from those areas, from the
Absolutely.
impacts of men, from the impacts of relationships, from the impacts from parents, from the impacts of abuse, from the impacts of lovers, and from the impacts of unsacred existence in the most sacred part of it, the intimate part
Yeah.
of you. Really key to how a woman evolves. So when you combine that into a program of wellness, prevention, which is absolutely key
Yeah.
in this area, you are then given a different set of choices. So when you remove the contracts away from that, in addition to providing a business-led, enterprise-led education where a woman can survive and make her own life, co-create her own life, not just survive, because we're beyond that, can co-create her life in every single way that she dreams as a natural dream weaver on this planet today. So most women are dream weavers, and they were revered in ancient cultures for simply weaving it into the
Yeah.
prayers, into the food, into the family dynamics, into the shared dreams that when you open-heartedly go into a relationship with somebody and you birth a child and you go into that, you have a shared dream, a shared vision. But with all of these shared dreams and visions, we lose our own as women and individuals.
Yes. Yeah.
What I would like to do, I don't know if Morgan's coming on or not, is recalibrate to that, and that takes time. It's not an instantaneous process. That's for sure.
I think that's the other thing is healing is a process. It's not, a sudden, all the lights switch on. It's like you have to recalibrate, you have to reintegrate, and you have to realign yourself with, all the false perceptions of who you believed you were with who you are, really. So for me, it's all about the shedding of the layers of
Yeah.
you shed all of the misconceptions of who you thought you were or who you should be to come back to who you really are underneath all of that, to the essence, the divinity of yourself.
So when you are in that fullest divine apex, the highest point of view, your connection to source embodied within you, you are this frequency where there is no hierarchy, because you're all that is. There is no computational orders. There is no computational system that your body is trying to work out of itself through this resolution on the planet at the moment, and for various huge load of time that I can't even quantify in this moment. But it's back to shedding. You know, you were talking about those layers being shed, and it's allowing those bits to come unstuck, because we've been here for such a long time as souls, right? And they weren't capturing the in the in-between stage when a soul is cleaned up and prepared and re-educated. They were really missing some key details and really didn't understand about the impacts like this. So when we address our emotions, when we address those contracts, when we address the inauthentic ways of being that puts us in competition and out of peace, then that is where the true gold in the work lies.
Yep, and it is, you know, it can be hard work. You know, we've been at this for years. You know,
I have had the hardest times of my life looking at the way that I behave as a human being on the planet, right? And really looking at myself and thinking, well, you know, what have you become? What are you? What are you? Who are you? What have you been? You know, and
I think it's the
bravery of that.
You know, the bravery as well of owning it all and realizing that you are the creator of it. You know, that's something that a lot of people don't want to have to face. You know, is that we are creating it all. We are, as individuals. You know, our whole set of circumstances and scenarios, it comes down to us, because we're the ones still creating it day on day, because we haven't dealt with the things that we've overlaid on top of ourselves.
And this is an observation for men. Do not have the opportunity to address these severe emotional issues, you know, because they're taught not to cry from a very young age.
Yeah, exactly.
So they're unable to express their deepest, darkest emotions, and they just go through until whatever time explodes in their life, where it changes their behaviors and makes them a really shitty person, just like it does with women.
Yeah. yeah. I mean, we're all kind of, you know, the same on that level. You know, how we deal with things may be slightly different, though.
Exactly. So it's that human element of what makes us human, what we experience as humans. But then, how do we transcend that and move away from that very 3D experience of living in the past? We have to reject it all. So let's just have a quick look and see where Morven is. I wonder if you got into that. She's having problems, maybe. Can't get on. The sound is like a Dalek. Maybe next time. Do you hope so? Okay, so maybe we can answer the question then, and maybe have a look at it if she can't get in. I am interested why my ex-husband is attempting to keep my daughter. Now that's quite a fascinating question. Right. Okay.
So I only got half of that question. I only got half of that.
Okay. I'll read it again.
I'll read again.
Okay. Can you hear me okay, people?
Yeah, I just lost you for a moment. Exactly when you made the question.
Okay, so I am interested in why my ex-husband is attempting to keep my daughter away from me.
Okay, so that feels like a weaponry. Like your daughter's being used as a weapon against you.
I'm seeing also that the father and the daughter also have contracts.
Yeah, I was just looking at that.
Yeah, so he is utilizing that so he can complete his own soul contract. Quite interesting. What else are you picking up on?
I'm kind of getting the princess syndrome as well. There's like a level of I'm getting like a medieval castle and the princess syndrome of the daughter. So that, yeah, there's quite a lot actually going on in that. It's not as easy as you think to look at, really. Yeah.
No, it isn't, because there's a whole lineage set of contracts that your daughter is not accepting. She really isn't. She's just kind of, I can see her looking at this whole line of people thinking, this is a bit of a spaghetti mess and I don't really want to be a part of it. Rocio, what are you picking up on with your intuition?
Excuse me?
What does your intuition say to you about the question?
I was thinking, it's for me, it's I'm going back to this control about the man, that for him, I think that he thinks that if the kid, the daughter, be in contact with the mother, he will lose the daughter, you know.
There's also a getting back at you through the daughter. That's
Exactly.
the main
So
feeling why.
yeah, maybe he has a special relationship with the mother. Yeah, it's husband already, but in front of the daughter, he's another person in some way, you know. So he doesn't want that she be in contact with the daughter, because maybe he feels that he's gonna lose the daughter, you know. So because he don't want to lose this female attach that he has. Yeah, he lost the wife, but he has the daughter. And remember that when they are this kind of divorce or separations, yeah, the woman tried to have in the son the image of the husband, and the men try to have in the daughter the female part of the wife. I don't know if I explain myself. And
Yeah,
happen
you
like
did. I get what
it's
you're saying.
very, you can see in the divorced people, when they are a son and daughter, the son is always following the mother and the daughter is following the father, because they are complementary, you know, in this duality, you know. So maybe this guy is doesn't want to lose the daughter, like this complementary stuff about female stuff, you know. So I think it's something like that. It's just thinking about why, you know. And hello, can you hear me? Hello.
Hello, I can hear you. Angela's got stuck again.
Yeah.
I go, woohoo! And she's back in the room.
I was never out of the room. I'm always.
So I would also ask, though, is what are you learning through that? What is the learning for you? Why have you put yourself in that position? Because it's not just oh, my husband is doing this to me. There's also an aspect of you that's engaged in this contract. So what is it on a soul level that you're learning from by that situation being presented to you? That's kind of where I would take it. Because once you have completed your learning of that, the situation will change.
And another thing, we need to know, for example, in this case, what the ex-husband think about this person, the wife, like a person. Who is she? How is she? Yeah, because sometimes the men think that if they left that the daughter be in touch with the mother, she will become like her, and they don't want this.
I think there's also a little bit of an abandonment issue on his part. You know, that he doesn't want to be abandoned by the daughter as well as the wife.
Yeah, because he needs this female presence with him. Yeah. Like complementary stuff, you know.
Exactly, and no parent really ultimately wants to be without their child on
Sure.
some
No.
level, or that connection, because it's so beautiful, right? And the
Yeah.
most beautiful thing in the world. So when you apply compassion to this situation, because it is tricky and it all comes from just the lack of personal love for self on his part, because he doesn't know any other way to be other than to protect and take and control and dominate. But what is really key here is how you deal with the fear of losing a child. And that is the worst case scenario for any parent. But also, it's the battle of having to persuade, and stand by your child and listen to what their ex-partner is saying to the child and bringing back to you as a mother.
Yeah.
Are there truths that are, what is working through him, which is, creating this discord. And we're also looking at other things as well, from his part, his ancestral influences, but also other influences that are just going to try and just find the right word here. It's binding. So I would say that there are strong lineage contracts here that are really holding in huge karmic impacts for him personally, which has probably fucked your relationship right up in the first place. To be honest, I swear.
I would say that as well.
And that's probably what put a spanner in the works, and then you two separated because you saw those weaknesses, impacts, and the experiences that you were having as a result, and then it creates this battle that comes on after. And it's so common, and all of this is down to love and the heart and the connections and disconnections. And again, we're back to the beginning of the program. How you're born, what connections you have, what contracts you have, and you can see how this materializes through a person's being and their script. So it's a multi-layered approach with your ex-husband, that's for sure. And is he prepared to look at anything? But also, what can be done, dependent on the age of your daughter, is that you can intervene on her behalf from a point of view that you are her guardian.
But there's also, I would still bring it back to you. You can't take responsibility. Whatever your husband has to deal with is his own share. That's his stuff. I would look at what you're carrying. What is it that is impacting on you? Because once I just get that feeling that once you resolve it, the situation will change, because there's nothing for it to hit up against.
There is. It's a whole, I would take that approach, but I'd also layer into it and factor into it the needs of the child, because the child is also carrying those things that will not only keep affecting that child's existence, and this is where it gets pretty kind of hairy, because it's age related. There are certain things that you can't interfere with teenagers. Bloody annoying, but there are some things that you can do if they're under the age of 12. You've still got a bit of leverage there to help with the child's contracts with the parent and the lineage there. We can still work with that.
And in the between of that stuff, they need more communication, because when they are the separation or divorce, everybody is in a defensive stuff, and they don't hear what the others try to tell them, So I think that's very important that this woman have a communication with the ex-husband and ask him in very objective way and very clear way. It's like, why do you don't want that I see my daughter? What is the problem? Or what do you think that I'm gonna do that damage to you, or something like that? Maybe it's a good beginning. Just talk. Simple thing. Talk.
Yeah, create a dialogue. It's good.
Yeah.
Good place to start.
Yeah, because sometimes, the things are very, wow, incredible, huge, and things, and we can resolve it sometimes just talking, but in peaceful, no shouting, no insults, nothing, no between them. Yeah, because
Absolutely.
sometimes we do it in that way, and of course the other respond in the same way, so we don't do nothing and we don't resolve nothing. So, but maybe we need to talk about it too, and maybe she will find the why. Maybe
Mm.
if she asks with a heart, if he can be honest to her and say, "Come on, tell me what is the reason, what is happening, or what is your fear, or why?" You know, because I'm sure that he has a why, right? Everybody has a reason to do the thing. Nobody just act just to be. Everybody has their own reason to do the things in the way that we do it. But we need to know why, right?
But sometimes people aren't always aware of the why, though. Sometimes people don't actually know why they're doing that particular behavior, and sometimes it's not actually down to them
Yeah.
either. If they have interference and stuff like that, they could be behaving that way because of something else that's tapping them on the shoulder to do it that way. So it's not always that simple as this person is behaving like this and this is the reason why. That there can be so many different layers to that.
Yeah, but even that, when she asked to him, just tell me why, he will think about it. Or maybe I don't have the why. Or maybe I is looking inside him why he's acting in that way. So this is anyway, if he has the result, the answer or not, there will be a piece that moves something to begin to discover the why. You know, it's what I
Who,
think.
what, why, when, how, where. So I'm going to wind up the show. We've been going now for 2 hours 20 minutes.
Oh my goodness!
We were always intended to be 2 hours, but we're okay. We're flexible. It's not a problem. So thank you, Rocio, for joining us and contributing
Thank
to the show.
you. Nice.
How
to
can
be
people
with you.
get hold of you if they need to?
Pardon?
How can people get hold of you if they need to, if they want a Kinmaya reading or some way to get in contact?
Well, they can look for me in Facebook. It's the easy way. I am like Rocio González Delgadillo. This is my picture, so it's easy to go with me. And this is a very interesting thing. And I appreciate your invitation, Karleen. Nice to see you again. And it's always very exciting, right? There are a lot of things to talk, and wow, it's interesting. Thank you very much.
Definitely. Thank you, sweetheart. Yeah, thanks, Alan, for pulling me in and having a conflab. It's been good.
Yeah, always good to chat.
Yeah, and other time we talk about Kinmaya and that stuff. If you want, what is that?
Yeah, we're going to do a talk.
You're coming on the radio show with me tomorrow, aren't you?
Ah, yes.
With Kinmaya on the radio
tomorrow, right?
Your show while you're here. Would you like to give the show a plug?
Yeah, so I run a show on, I'm a host of a show on a Tuesday evening called Sacred Technician Show, and it is on People for People Radio.
Okay. And how can people contact you if they wish to get hold of you?
They can contact me through Facebook on Soul Directed, I think it comes up as or under Sacred Technician. Yeah, somewhere. You'll find me.
Oh, yeah.
So thank you to all the wonderful people that have supported the show. Thank you to Aaron and Zach. Blessings, guys. I love you both so dearly for just, making it all happen and be beautiful in the truest Arcturian way. I wore our colours. And yeah, I'm very grateful for that, for all the people that have listened. Willow, Carla, Joanna Morgan, Sissel from Norway there, Morven. Let's just love all the Jessica. I love you, Jessica. Maya Rose, who's in Tepodslam.
Oh.
Jasmine, blessings to you. We should talk. It'd be really good too. And yeah, to anybody else that has watched, viewed, or will watch in the future, thank you, Mendy. Mustn't forget you.
Yeah, Mandy.
Who typed in earlier. Just thank you for joining us on this maiden crone mother voyage. And get hold of me. My name's Angela Miller. You can find me on Facebook, Concordia Consularis. There is a whole range of programs there that will help you to develop your own enterprise here. You can also find me at Source Frequency Healing, where I offer one-to-one private sessions looking at your previous impacts from the 4 previous teacher worlds and get you logged on to your trajectory of where you should be without contracts. That's just one thing. We also, please do tune in to other projects that we're doing, the Temescal UK and Europe, which will be implemented shortly, and also looking out for the most sacred spiritual tours ever from Viaje Aguila Dorada. Please come do have a look at our website on Facebook. All the details there about the tours that we're going to do, and you will love them. They will help your soul to grow on this journey and provide you with purely natural illumination. So thank you.
Thank you. That's Kamati.
Past, present, future on Mateo.
Mateo, yeah.
Mateo.
I bring this sacred broadcast to a close for this week on Women's Work International. Please do find the Women's Work page. We are seeking funding from the system. They've offered to pay for programs, and we're just waiting for that to roll out. And we hope to have some sort of network in every single country at some point. This is just the very beginning. So thank you very much, everybody. Blessings. I do love you with all of my heart, and dedicate a moment of my own internal reflection, inward but outward, to the love of all that is, was, and ever will be, and the divine feminine creator. So thank you.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.